What is happening, YouTubers? I hope you guys are well. It's my last bigger run day. So there's a few key sessions left. We are right now 10-11 days out from Ironman Spain. So today's training will be an outdoor pool 50 meter. The first one is the aerobic swim, 60 times 100, leaving on 130. A common set I did, so it's still building. It's really good for me. Then afterwards, we're gonna have the last long run. It's gonna be 37K with 4 times 6K, probably, unless anything weird with the legs happens, which I don't think. 4 times 6K at race pace, which is gonna be 4 or 5 minute per K range, and make sure that the heart rate is nice and low. For me, that is the 150 to 155 range. I want that heart rate to be. 155 is my LT1, my aerobic threshold, so it needs to be in that range for me to have a chance to maintain it in an Ironman. When it comes to long run and in general, I mean, it's very individual, right? If you're injury prone or all those things, maybe you think, it's a bit long and all those things, but I have a very strong, resilient body. It's something, I am a bigger, structured guy in a sense, but it's a lot of muscle. It's not fat in a sense, so it's really years of working in the gym, years of consistent running since I'm a teenager basically. So this allows me to now go to those kind of levels, and many times you have, doubts, expectations, like kind of how you would feel after a certain thing. And that's kind of insecurity, and even I had that, but that's something I noticed you have to drop, and you just have to go to your body feel. For example, when I built this now over time, 28K, 30, 32K, 35K, and after the 35K, because you're running for like, I don't know, 2 hours 45 or something like that, and you think, oh my God, I ran this long. This is just this little voice in your head that's trying to, distract you. But the next morning, like waking up and thinking, how am I? Structures, my muscles, my tendon, anything, the physio brain is always online analyzing, which is good and keeps me injury free. And nothing, even was running the same day again, 15K, nothing, totally fine. So you have to really always go with the body. So I know my body is resilient. This is the last long run. Important with a long run like this that, you make sure that it's far enough out, or at least make sure really not, taking it 6-7 days out. That might be a bit of a yellow flag, because I don't want any fatigue coming after 25K in a marathon in the race. That kind of defeats the purpose. So, last long run today. I'd love to make this super exciting with footage for you guys, but unfortunately my video maker, my wife, is working, so she doesn't have time. Guys, I will do the best I can in the future. I can promise you this quality of the channel, while staying authentic and just like I do now. But the quality is gonna go up. So every cent I get, I'm gonna reinvest in this channel. So you can expect big things. I'm just packing my swim bag, super simple set. I have no tools, 60 times 100. All I need basically, so I always carry a lot of stuff around the swim bag. There's normally pull buoys, all this stuff. Don't need those out. I have the neoprene pants just as a backup a little bit. If it should be a super horrible day, something should be really stuck in the hips and I feel like I'm not floating right, I do have the neoprene pants as a backup, better than pull buoy, more natural, because if you have a pull buoy you kind of don't kick, and that's not good, because you need to have the kick rhythm, especially for me not coming from a swim background. I need to train my brain to get the kick rhythm. That's something, by the way, I will be improving a lot upon in the future. I do have to do kick sets, but that's a bit tricky because all is energy, right? You have to really choose. I'm very energy focused, in a sense that like very aware of energy going out, any type of energy. Any energy going anywhere in a session must have a clear purpose, because you can do everything, right? The art is like, how can you put it together, you get the most performance out of it. So again, when it comes to the kick set, notice for example during threshold swimming, one part of your speed is obviously your upper body and catch, and that's a majority, but the kick, mainly because of alignment, gives a lot of speed, and at some point in a certain speed you just have to rely on your kick. That's just a fact. Until 130 it's probably not so relevant in the pool, or it's not relevant, but if you want to swim 115s, 110s, also eventually aerobically, if you don't have a good and strong kick, forget it. So that's just a fact. But my kick, I didn't grow up kicking, so I have to do work on the kick in a way that it doesn't exhaust me. So in the future, probably after the Spain race, I noticed that yesterday a bit of threshold swimming that my neuromuscular kick fatigues quickly. So yes, I can do a few hundreds, but then eventually, and that's the brain, you know, brain and muscle conditioning and all those things, it's just like I can't fire strong, small amplitude kicks consistently. And if you have a background of swimming of several years and all your childhood kicking, you can maintain that for a long time. For example, for 70.3 swimming, you need to maintain a strong, consistent kick for 1,900 meters. For Ironman swimming, a bit less, for sure, for the first 300-400, who knows how long they're gonna push it, the threshold, and until they settle down at the aerobic, then it's a bit less, but still, if you don't have a strong, consistent kick, small amplitude, and the brain and muscles know how to do this for an hour, that needs a lot of conditioning, which I don't have yet, but I will work on that eventually. That will get my threshold time for sure down by quite a bit, because my pull and catch are pretty good. Can be better obviously, but that's a big part. So yeah, my of course dry land warm up, I put it in other videos what I do. Definitely wouldn't be swimming the way I do if I wouldn't do dry land videos. Warm up, then swim cap, goggles, heart rate watch. For key sets I use the watch, otherwise some sets I don't need it, but for this it's good if I don't have a clock there, also to see heart rate, because of the heart rate connected to the watch. Alright, so I just make my usual mix, as most of you guys will know, is just this. This is just sugar now, although it's a Morton bottle, sugar and sodium, 600 milligrams of sodium. I lose 500 per liter of sweat, so it's gonna be an hour swim. If I want to drink this, because I literally, mostly probably will come in around these long course meters, 123, 125, somewhere in that range. Build the last 10 maybe on the 60 times 100 for the swim, but leaving on 130. No matter what, I'm gonna be pushing off the wall at 130. So if I wanna drink, I probably make myself a little mental reward as well, because the challenging session mentally, that after 10 times you get a zip. So it's gonna be literally like a quick zip, but I do have to hydrate, and especially 80 grams of carbs as well. So I did, happy to find that even after yesterday, the heat training that I started doing, which I got a good protocol from the best guy in Finland. He works with Finnish Olympics, gold medalist and those things. So I got a good source of information there. And yeah, I don't know how hot Vitoria is gonna be, Spain, but I mean, it's July in Spain, so I prepare for the worst. Even if it's 25 degrees, 27, it still affects your body performance by quite a lot versus, let's say, 20 degrees. They did studies on that, it's already a few percent. So anyways, I want to gather data. It's all about Kona eventually, right? Or even Nice, World Champs is also hot as hell. So you got to be able to perform well in the heat. So I want to now have a conservative heat protocol, but still, you know, something that I want to test how I feel with that. I am good in the heat, and I like the heat a lot. But yes, so let's see. Happy to find, that's also why I talk about hydration and heat, because yesterday I did a heat session. And it was very good with rain jacket and beanie on a treadmill with core sensor, of course, and the protocol went well. It was fun, and I have a really good baseline of heat already, because in the past times I struggled on treadmill. I could feel just heating up quickly, but now, for example, it took me 32 minutes and 30 seconds, 33 seconds to reach 38.5 Celsius, which is the heat range for me on the treadmill, in wood beanie and rain jacket at aerobic pace. So that's good. So I wrote it all down, so I have the data, and then eventually, of course, it has to improve. That's the idea. Sweat rate changes, heart rate changes. Yeah, anyways, so I'm gonna take this with, and we're gonna bounce now to the pool. One thing probably to talk about as well is this shoe here. This is a Nike Vomero 17. I gave that a shot. I mean, as you can see, the front is a bit like the Pegasus from Nike. The front is a bit thinner, which is normally a no-go for me, but the back, you know, but you don't land like this either. The back is better with cushioning. So athlete of mine, Adam, recommended this to me to try out. It's a cheaper shoe, costs $100, and I thought, yeah, for sure, give it a go. because with Nike, which is my go-to shoes, I run the Invincible, which is amazing. Except the version 3 has this heel zip thing, which you have to bind it a bit different, but the 1 and 2 were insane. But yeah, and the Vaporfly 3, of course, amazing shoe as well for training. But yeah, this one anyways, trouble with this is I ran with it and I thought, it feels good, you know, now, because now as you can see, it's my walking shoes. So yeah, this shoe basically, so I had an open mind, would be of course amazing to have another easy, you know, run shoe with a lot of cushioning and that feels good for training and just at a low price, $100, because it's not so popular. And the review is really good, like lots more cushioning than the versions before. But unfortunately I did my usually 20k easy run off the bike session I did many times before, same loop, and already doing, I thought, not sure the first 10k, if it's like, you know, they're just maybe hard from running in, so I give it a chance. But then afterwards I was like, no, they're okay. They went in the category of okay with running shoes, and okay is normally not good enough. It has to be good. If it's okay, anyways, then the night proved it. In the night I felt both my knees had weird tension. In the morning as well, it's like, oh no, you're not going to be my running shoe anymore. So this is now for walking. They're good for walking, perfect. But you have to be ruthless when it comes to running shoes. Ruthless. Like if it's not good or great, ditch them. You maybe lost $150, okay, but definitely not as much as if you would put it for, let's say, you paid for physio or you're 3 months out with injury. So you have to be ruthless with running shoes. Find something that works for you. Be ruthless with drop. It's just a lower chance. Yes, you can run, for example, a brand like Hoka or other ones which have a lower stack, 4mm drop. But yeah, if it works for you, perfect. But normally lower drop at the heel is related to calf injuries and things like that. It's just, yeah. Anyways, choose a brand. I recommend any brand that works, that has a 8-9mm drop. Things like Saucony, Adidas, Nike, they all have that. So go for that. And something that feels good for you and you're really sure that, you know. So pick a shoe that works well for you and that really feels good. You're stable, you have no weird structural things like tendons, anything. It's not normal to have pain anywhere there. Never after running. If you do, something is wrong. So it has to be muscle soreness, sure, but it has to feel good even the day after running. So we're traveling a little bit further to the pool now because all the pools in my area are closed. So as most of you guys know that watch my channel, I moved on purpose. 2 meters, 2-minute walk next to a 50-meter pool, one of the best in the area. No coincidence, to have resistance as little as possible for swimming, and in general I have the perfect training bubble, everything within very short reach. So training recovery is already hard enough, so I don't need to make it harder. But now pool's closed, renovation stuff doesn't matter. So I have now a 40-minute one-way trip to the pool. So 2 ways you can go about it. The easy way, which most people do, and my brain also wanted to go first, but I stop it immediately, is to start to complain and kind of think, you know, shit, yeah, it's so annoying that they close the pools and all this gibberish, which helps exactly zero to get the work done. So the sooner you come to accept and come to the conclusion that this is just a fact, this is gonna be, okay, it's gonna take you longer. I would also take a 3-hour trip to the damn moon if I had to get the sessions in. So it comes to the commitment and how much you want it, and you know, just have to block out the things that are not in your control, which is when you go into rational mode, very easy, but you just can't allow the emotional brain, which we all have, to boycott us. So that might be the same when it comes to, for example, when you're swimming, when you have a normal work day and you probably go after work 4 p.m, 5 p.m, 6 p.m. The lanes are packed, they're full, and there's a limit to lanes. If there's a 50-meter lane, there's 12 people in there. I mean, unfortunate truth is you have to find a different time to swim, because in that lane you're probably not going to improve, or very likely not. So there's a limit to how full the pool can be, but in general, if it's just a little bit full, it's annoying. You just have to maybe adjust the session, get your mind right, just face the situation again, the uncontrollables. But It can be controllable. It can be that at 6 a.m. there's no one there, but you don't want to get up to do the sessions. I mean, how I did it when I worked, I had 10 to 12 hour work days. I got up at 4:30, and this is not the blueprint, trust me. Overtraining, overload was in there, but I needed the training twice a day for my mental health, and that meant cutting sleep, which is not the idea to go for 100%. I'm gonna talk about that now. So I got up at 4:30, 4:45, bike to the pool, master swim 6 to 7:30, and then I rushed to work. 8 o'clock I had the first patient back then, and work started. So, and then after work again. So I was done at 10 p.m. and overloaded. That's not the blueprint. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so tough, look at me, this is what you should do. This is a terrible idea. But this, at that point, is what I needed to keep my sanity with work. So the reason I talk about this is also sleep. If you're committed, if you really have goals, like you want to qualify, so this, what I'm saying now, doesn't apply to people who just do it for fun and like 10 hours a week, or I don't know, they 8 to 10 hours and just want to finish those things. Don't listen to what I say now. But a lot of people are type A and they want to get the most out of it. But if you're really committed, if you really have the goal and you have the things in place, you know, and you don't have work burning all edges, family drama, and everything is bad, and you escape into the train bubble, that's also not the goal. But if you're really committed, you want to go, you have it all set up, and you're sleeping less than 8 hours, you have to face the fact that you're just not very committed. You're not committed, you're not disciplined. And I know I said that on purpose to you, because that probably triggered your little ego, which is good, which it should, that's why I said it. So for example, you can say, but I don't have time, you know. If you work 8 hours a day, which most people do, you sleep 8 hours a day, at least. I mean, that's a minimum requirement. That's where you get so many gains, but you know, it's not fancy, you can't sell it. I'm not selling anything, so that's why I can say it. You can't sell sleep, it's free. Same as nutrition, it's free. But the training stimulus you give is just one small snippet of why you actually get better. Why you actually get better is not the training, it's what comes after. Everybody knows, and you know what I'm saying. You know it's the thing to do, but you avoided it because reality is people spend so much time on their phone and on Netflix, and you probably as well. And there's a place for that because it gives mental relief and it is good. But for example, do you get more mental relief from being 2-3 hours on your phone or Netflix in the evening versus, you know, you just tell yourself, I have 90 minutes right now, then I'm gonna calm down half an hour without phone, without any blue screens, just read a book, and then I'm actually ready to sleep. 1 hour earlier, boom, suddenly you get 8 hours sleep, and you will see your mental health improve, your physical health improve if you just sleep. It's so damn simple. Basically the same as cranky babies when you think about it. Because when you think about it, babies take naps, they sleep all the time. When they're cranky, they sleep. But we just, you know, especially men, you know, shove that stuff down and just keep going. Yeah, so that was my rant on sleep for you. And I'm the same. When I had recently a time when my body started to dip over the edge, I felt my immune system go a little bit. Looked at my data, I had this Excel where every morning put everything in. I was like, oh man, you just had 8 hours sleep on average. Some nights you just had 8 hours. And I was like, and I had to pull myself again. Like, man, that's just, if you want to be world class, you can't do this shit 8 hours. So for me, for example, sleeping 8 hours, I feel sleep deprived when I wake up. I feel like, what the hell is this? So 10 hours, then I'm ready to go, ready to launch. Plus a 20-30 minute nap, then you can train like an absolute maniac. 8 hours for me is sleep deprived. 8 hours for me is probably likely like feeling 5.5-6 hours for you. So it just changes depending on the load. So the more load you got in life, the more you're gonna sleep. So one big advisor, biggest performance gain you can do is if in the weekend you have one day, even if you have family, maybe you can make it work somewhere, maybe you alternate with your wife or kids, I don't know how you do it. Try to make it work when you sleep in. No alarm, maybe earplugs in, nightshades on, just let the body wake up when it wants to wake up. And you will see that one night will carry through the whole week. You will feel better on Monday morning, not as tired. So anyways, enough talk, let's swim. So I'll bang out the swim now. No filming, unfortunately. Really nice. There's some people there, but then the rain is super nice. 50-meter pool, outdoor. Haven't been in here in a long time, so it takes a while to travel here. But I'm gonna enjoy the swim. It's gonna be a tough one. 60 times 100 is not easy work. That was challenging. It was a good set. So 60 times 100. Long course, really nice and outdoor pool. I felt really good in the sense that the last days I had some good swimming in me, but I noticed that after like 2k or so, the mind is kind of like the first 2k, they kind of fly by a bit, unless you're super tired. But so it's like around, then I hit easily 123s, easy peasy, but it's also everything neuromuscular and stuff, everything's fresh, cadence. And then I started slowing to set in, especially the mind, it's a long way. And after 4-5k, then the training really begins when arm cadence, because your pec's starting to fatigue, your whole arms and system. Not breathing wise, that's not the issue, it's more like muscular wise, and the body is adapting. So, and that's, I think, super important, not something to forget. So I think some people confuse exercising with training. When you're exercising, that's just, you go out a few times a week next to work, you can do whatever you want. If you feel good, you go hard. If you feel not good, you go slow. But if you're training and your mind is starting to, same as in the gym, if you want to lift weights or whatever it is, like you have to look for a certain adaptation. So each session you're looking kind of for an adaptation. And once your mind is kind of going a bit into this, oh, I don't know if I can do this, then you're going into the phase of, okay, we're pushing to a little new boundaries. That's where, of course, a good training plan comes into play, that you go in certain sessions in there, but each session, if you're training, has to have a clear goal and should cause some adaptations. So even a zone 2 run, whatever. So my arm is hurting from holding the camera, so I'm gonna eat now. So now it's time for lunch. As you guys saw, this is what I now have. It's a bit out of the ordinary. Normally I have my calorie injection, let's say, with Nutella stuff, if I have big days, which I mostly do in the evening. Calorie injections, things could be stuff like even just chips with dip when I'm really fully loaded in terms of stomach and mass already. Evening I always have my veggies and all that other stuff as well. Now it's just simple pasta with some chicken. And since I can't go massive in volume right now, because I have to run later, there's still a lot of running, a lot of shaking for the stomach, and I'm gonna be putting quite a bit of race nutrition as well to make sure that works. So gut can't be overly loaded, but I need energy, right? So this is why I have this. Some easy fruit as well. Also some, just basically blood sugar. And the Nutella with the normal toast, not the white toast, a little bit this darker one, but it's toast, it's not per se for health. This is for energy. And I'm really happy with the session, because, when you train on your own, like most of you do, and for me as well, I don't have a woo squad, a woo coach. It's like, you do wow, you did so well, or the other one like, you gotta push more. So I have to fabricate all that in my mind, which is basically what you do in Ironman racing as well, because there you're on your own, there's no woo squad like, you did so great. You have to fabricate stuff, so you have to motivate yourself, you have to also pat yourself on the back when you're doing well. You have to, when your mind is kind of like in the session like, I don't know how to do this, you have to bring it back to a neutral state, away from the negative state. So this is all the things I do in my brain, and it's a nice journey. I really like it, and it's really learning to control your brain, which is even outside the sport, which is basically life, because you can't always be sucked into the negative and things like that. You always have to be kind of in the middle ground, not go too high, not too low. Also, like, pat yourself on the back. Like, now I'm really happy with the session, this was great, and not just wait for the race outcome to allow that patting on the back, or even worse, like some people do, or a lot of people have this patting on the back always be something external, validated, like an outcome, or like somebody saying something. That's also not unhealthy. That's also unhealthy, I believe. So it has to come from within. You have to be your own best friend, your own biggest fan, which I am, And when I'm doing well, I allow myself to, yes, you did work, you did great, well done. And when I think I could have done better, I hold myself accountable as well. And that's why I have things like data and the clock. For example, in swimming, the clock is my coach. Today, exactly at 1:30, you are leaving. If you want to or not, you're gonna push off that wall. No matter how you're feeling, no matter how you're doing, this is an aerobic set. There's no reason why you shouldn't push off that wall at 1:30. So this is unnegotiable, not like, oh, maybe today I feel tired, I do just 5K, 4K. Nope, the decision has been made, the training plan has been set. Only time when it comes to, for example, intensity, which anyways now don't do a lot of, or in general fatigue levels, they're kind of out of the norm, then you can make a decision, but not when you're in the session. When you're in the session, you're locked in. You make that decision before. In my case, I do it before, or if something is very out of the ordinary. If something is like really out of the ordinary, then I would consider it. But mostly it's just your mind that it's getting tired and it's getting a bit wants a rest or something like that. But it's a great session. I knew it was a challenging session, so if you have challenging sessions, you can kind of expect, I'm going to eat in a bit, you can expect your mind to fabricate stuff and wanting a way out because you're challenging it. So if you're going into a challenging session, don't just think about your legs and always think, first and foremost, it's always the mind. The mind wants to stop first. So you have to control that and find ways to motivate yourself and always be positive or neutral. If you're dipping into negative, bring it back to the neutral ground. Okay, I'm gonna eat now. So one other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this to the bike shop now. So this is a 1036 cassette. As you guys know, I have a 60 chainring. Problem with this is, I mean, for the hill, of course, that's why I got the 1036, but of course there's limited space. So the problem with this is, for Ironman pace, of course, for the hills, it's good. I did my research now on Ironman Spain. It's a rolling course, of course, but with the speeds that I'm going up the hill, it's not like, 15% or anything. It's like rolling hills. 5 to 10% max, and problem is with this that the gears that actually matter, where I spend the majority of in, are those gears, and then it's actually bad for my race pace because I jumped and exactly there's some gears missing, which is normal with this range here, but my 1028 one does have those gears. So for example, race pace watts, the 300 watt range, then I suddenly drop from 75 cadence to 85. And I can't go in between. It's either like high cadence or lower. So it's like I'm definitely lacking gears in those ranges. So yeah, I did my research now. I mean, with the hills, right? I can tell you after the race, but I will always get up the hill. But for example, in Oceanside, there were some big old hills, and this Piam website, as some of you guys know, that wasn't accurate. So yeah, unless you're a pro cyclist, you have a team that easily changes cassettes back and around like that. But yeah, I did my research now before, and I made now the decision to take the 1028. I will, like I said, always get up the hill. That's not the issue, but like I don't want to grind steep hills, at 60 cadence kind of stuff. That's just muscular wise not very smart. But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna bring this to the bike shop. So this will be adjusted. I have to learn how to do this with SRAM. That I don't know, but the tubeless one, there's no tubeless on right now. Tubeless change I'll do myself. I got some cool tool there. I can actually also show you something new. I haven't done a tubeless myself, but it's so damn simple. This here, it's called Airshot, but then our Schwalbe also has it. Super cool. You just pump it yourself with a pump, and then you got, because with tubeless, as you guys know, yeah, it needs to go on the rim, and that gives this little shot. Normally a compressor. I got this small compressor thing, but that didn't work, of course, was too cheap. So, and then you just put the sealant in. Silka, this is the best sealant out there for that. And yeah, I just have this little thing here to put it in clean. And then I blow this in, and yeah, that's the theory anyways. But they'll be fine. I got also a new pair, oh, I got a bit messy here, sorry. New pair of Schwalbe TT. This is 28 for the back, for the disc, and then this newer one here, 25 for the front. So yeah, just came back from the shop. I've got a new brake pads as well for the bike, so this is really easy to install as well. So this I do, he's gonna do the shifting and all that, which I pick up tomorrow. and then we're almost ready. So what we're gonna do now is my race nutrition for this run, which is also race nutrition for my Ironman run. So I'll be aiming at 100 grams of carbs an hour, plus the needed sodium for me, which is gonna be for sure 1000. I only use 500 per liter of sweat, but you want backup. So when I drink more, so 1000 per hour. One bag of Morton has 80 grams of carbs and 500 milligrams of sodium. So the easiest way I found to do this, because I mean, also if you want to put them in those things or even in the air bottles, you need this kind of contraption to make it good. So what I always do is actually I pre-mix it in here, especially the sodium as well, mix it with a spoon, because yeah, you don't want the sodium sitting on top or anything weird like that, so you can mix it well. And then what you do is, I'm gonna do it now, I'll scale it actually, so I put, yeah, this is 80 grams, sometimes actually 75 in there, but it's mostly around 80. And yeah, put the grams that I want for the duration that I'm running now in each, and then I can show you. So I have my plan here that I made as well. So here we have now 150 grams each. So yeah, for the run duration, now it's gonna be 250 hours as well. For the race, I aim around that as well. So here's another 1000 milligrams of sodium. So 5 pills of 200 milligrams, which I'm still gonna put in there. And then it's actually interesting to see, because I haven't done this, if it fits in there. That's why I do it in training, so you don't have any surprises on race morning. But it should. It would be a slushy thing, but I'll know in a bit. So I just mixed the first bottle. It does fit in, because when you look at this, isn't it yummy, yum yum yum? This is what you eat for the race, basically. So this is 1/2 marathon, and it does fit in, but I cannot stress enough that you should train this. And I also made the mistake in the past that I didn't. Even the practicality of putting it in there is no joke, because, for example, there's so many things that you can just, this process that I did, that you can mess it up and they can literally derail your race. You know why? For example, if you didn't mix the sodium, for example, put your sodium on top more, and if you put it all in right away and just mix water, sometimes it could be that the sodium all stays on top, and then in the race you take the first sip, take like a massive amount of salt, boom, gut issues, race in trouble. Just from that practicality thing. So what I do, what works now best, and it's the same for the aero bottle, if you don't use this, it's fine, use aero bottle, same procedure. So the same thing, it has to be in the glass, it has to be mixed, the sodium with a spoon, if you do extra sodium in there if you need it, which most of you guys will. I'm on a low end with 500 milligrams per hour. Most of you guys will have 1000 milligrams an hour, and most of people, and they don't train this and they mess this up. Like, you train so hard for months and months, and then they're like, oh, I have no energy, I didn't drink in the race, I didn't race. But they don't do the analysis, and they just think, I didn't have the legs on the run. No, that's not how it works. So for half or fulls, nutrition is massive. So yes, it's expensive now to practice this in training, but I don't do this all the time, right? I just do this sometimes. But you gotta do it at least in 2 key sessions to know if you can do it or not. So, and remember, this is taken after all the race nutrition on the bike. That's a whole nother cocktail of slushing the stomach. So that's why I also train this bike to run, if that works. Otherwise, you know, you're just guessing, and just because you didn't practice it, you derail your whole Ironman because you're sick or no energy or whatever. But anyways, so what I did now, and this works, is you have to be really careful when you put this in, because you're like, you know, it's not a lot of space for water. So I put a bit of water at the bottom, then I put the whole thing in, and like step by step slowly, and it did fit pretty well. Then I put a bit of water, but not all the way to the top, that's important. A bit more water, mixed it quite a bit, so really shook it for a while, and then it kind of it has space to mix, you know, because it's such a small thing, same as the air bottle. And then you put the rest of the water on top, and I wouldn't even fill it all the way, because you fill it until the maximum, it doesn't even mix when you shake it, because there's no, you know, air in there to mix it. Anyways, long story, I hope that makes sense, but practice it. So we're gonna have the videographer coming with. So I got everything with now, music. I'm gonna be wearing the normal non-carbon shoes, Invincibles. I would normally use the carbon ones, but they're gonna, you know, those are one fresh for the race, but eventually I think for those kind of run, just for less load, would be good. But of course with these you're a bit slower, but I'm still trying to hit the target ranges, so it's not gonna be strict on the second. On the track, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna calculate now roughly what I need for a 400 meter time for 4:05 pace. I mean, in the end, you know, it has to be ranges for the feel, the Ironman feel. I did 14 Ironmans, I know what it's supposed to feel like, and especially heart rate, super important. So feel on that. 4 times 7K, 37K total, so 2K warm up now. And these bottles I'm gonna drink, so it's 2 hours 50s for the run in total, so almost 3 hours. So like 3 times 750 plus the concentrate, because if I, of course, only drink the concentrate, I'm gonna be sick as a dog. So you need water with it. And actually, to drink enough an Ironman or even a 70.3 we get away with it, but an Ironman you don't. So it's a lot of cups, right? A lot of cups. So you have to be really conscious. If you just run through the aid station chasing the time, a cup here and there, you maybe drink like 400 milliliters an hour without knowing, and you explode. Surprise, surprise. So gotta drink a lot. In the race, I go by thirst for sure, but it's gonna be a lot of cups. So probably a liter an hour for sure. So I have to calculate how many cups this is. 1 cup is normally 200 milliliter. Realistically, you only get 100 of that in you probably, maybe 150. So you can think per aid station at least 2-3 cups to get it in. But let's bounce.
Gotta stop on the Cavo. We gotta live pronto. Your friends like Colombo. You be the judge like Rondo. Gotta stop on the Cavo. We gotta live pronto. Your friends like Colombo. You be the judge like Rondo. Slow, walk hard like a rhino.
2K easy warm up. Legs are not fresh. Of course, not the idea to be fresh. It's good. Let's see how nutrition works.
We gotta live pronto. Your friends like Colombo. You be the judge like Rondo. Gotta stop on the Cavo. We gotta live pronto. Your friends like Colombo. You be the judge like Rondo.
We're at the track now, it's looking good. Football club isn't there, so they're not gonna kick over me with the legs. A couple of runners, that's a good sign, perfect. So goal of this session is not, you know, be a hero or kill yourself or anything like that. And realistic, you know, Ironman is 42 kilometers. Most people, they like to do predictions and all this, and it's like, if you're really realistic, you can make predictions. You get rough ranges what you can do, but you cannot tell in training if you can run after 25k, because until 25k in a marathon, it's warm up. Then the race starts, and then where most people falter. Everybody can run whatever pace you think you can do in training for 15-20k, but that's not even halfway. It means nothing. You'll see it in a tracker in Spain, I promise you. Look at the race. Everybody that's on the tracker at 20k, 25k, whole range, whole top 10 changes. People quit, people drop, except the 2-3 that are trained. They're gonna stay in that top 10, and the rest will every single year the race. Same with the age group level. I had it the same. Patience paid off. So I hope, I'm gonna do my best, that patience is gonna pay off, because I am gonna be patient. There's gonna be some mad cyclists dropping some mad splits, which is cool. Those numbers I can tell you I cannot do, which is fine. I'm anyways on my own journey, but I'll make instinctive decisions in the race as well, if I commit to a surge or not. I'm not gonna plan those things. I go trust my body and always have an open mind for the possibility for the Kona slot until the finish line. Do not allow myself to say before, here, I'm here, there. F that. Finish line, that's where it ends. So Anyway, it's looking good. If I can do this right now on tired legs, the ranges, you know, it's also for confidence. That's why I do it on the track. It's a softer surface. That's really good for that. And main thing is also the bottles, right? So I have the bottles there, I can hydrate well. So it's gonna be around 30K on the track now, and the last 7K I go off the track. It's enough laps, you know. So I go off the track and do the last 7K somewhere else, and then I'll be good. Last 100 meters. I'm gonna do 4x6 or 4x7. It's enough. I can feel it. It's enough. It's good. Oh man, I wish for my carbon shoes. This would be like 20% easier. But yeah. 100 meter easy jog. That was the first 6K. Okay, average. But yeah, if you can't do this pace at any given time, any given day, any given shoes, it's not your Ironman pace. Because to run 42K after all that, it's a massive task. So we all love to live in dreamland and visualize and dream, but you also gotta know what to look at. The ranges, what I like physically in the back. So some water. On a good spot for the bottles over there. And yeah, so the videographer is leaving. So I chat afterwards. Wish me luck. Mental fortitude. Definitely boring as hell on this track. Holy, I can't wait to run in the Spanish streets. But easy peasy. Okie doke. I'll check in after. Back home. Really happy with this. Whoopa! That was great. I mean, all I can say is really have to be grateful, and I mean these are all things on an almost daily basis, not daily basis, but like very frequently. I'm constantly doing things like lifetime firsts, right? So like things you haven't done before in your own world, pace-wise, effort-wise, heart rate-wise, and this workout was one of them. The 4x6K, I mean, from the beginning, like I said, legs were pretty challenged, but really good. Even the last trip I still did in 20, so 6K in 24:50. So that's like 4:08 pace or something. Heart rate really nice and stable. The main thing was muscular now, which is great. Wasn't low carb or low glycogen. I think just some deeper fatigue from last days, which is explainable. Yeah, nutrition worked well, I have to say. So yeah, I mean, those kind of things, for example, right now I'm in this range. So the reason I'm sharing this to give predictions is basically impossible. If, like, when you say, I did this in training and then I'm gonna do that in an Ironman, that is, to be honest, complete BS. Because if people like Dan Lorang, who's one of the best coaches in the world from several Ironman champions, if he says he has no idea what Jan Frodeno will actually do in the race, I think it's safe to say that you and me also both cannot say exactly. But you have some hopes, of course, what you're gonna hit, but mostly it's a bit slower than the hopes, but you never know. Main thing is that the only thing what can you control is you train as good as you can, prepare yourself as good as you can, arrive at the start line mentally, physically fresh, execute a good race and do the things that I can, make good decisions in the race. It's still a race, right? It's a pro race. Make decisions for when should you go and when not. And again, before, you cannot plan these things. You have to go by instinct. You have to really listen to instinct. I look forward to that part, especially the racing part. But one last thing, I have a little bit of bro science for you. So hear me out. So right now, LT1 pace is around this 4:05 pace, around that, right? My heart rate is 150, 155, really steady there. So I need to get that down step by step to like 350 pace, 350 pace, 345. This is basically Ironman pace-ish, roughly, right? But eventually, if you want to go into territory, like new territory, right, you have to think new. For example, one guy I've talked about before, well, one guy I'm inspired by is a Lithuanian world record holder. He's a 100K world record holder. He holds 100K at 330 pace flat on the track though. But he did 8 years of training. He came from alcoholic and overweight. 8 years of training, of just outside the book, outside textbook training, not standard stuff. He ran 300K a week, around this 4 minute, 4:10, 4:15 pace as zone 2. Like zone 2, zone 2, zone 2. One workout a week. So hear me out. That guy does 100K in his race at 330 pace. And he trains 300K at 4 minute pace, is zone 2. Hear me out. What if I run half of the distance he runs in a week, 150K? I think it's not, you can't say no at least, that it's irrational to think that I would not be able to, in an Ironman after bike, run 42K, not 100K, 42. So again, less than 50% of the time that he did at 330 pace. But those kind of thinkings, I'm not going to go into now, of course. You have to first bank a few good years at 100K a week. But eventually, once I did an Ironman, and I will, at 345 pace, 340, 345, eventually, it's going to take time, then I can go back to this bro science. Anyways, this is how I'm thinking. I like it. I don't care what anyone thinks about it. You have to think outside the box. And that's just one of gazillion examples that I'm doing, and I enjoy it. Anyways, this is it for today. I'm just gonna eat a lot now and rest, and yeah, then it's basically that. Thanks for following, guys. Again, a bit longer, I think, than I said it's gonna be. But if you enjoyed this type of content, it's gonna be a lot more coming next week. Yeah, now it's a 10-day taper. We're basically done. One more little workout, bike run, but not much massive. Then it's taper time, and then it's Ironman Spain, Ironman Vitoria Spain. It's a Pro Series race. It's the second last one. There's one more after for qualify for Kona for this year, which is my big dream. And this is what I'm focused on. And open mind to the possibility. It's going to be obviously difficult because when you look just at the facts, I'm basically, when it comes to training years, I'm kindergarten level, elite training years versus other people who are basically in high school. But I don't care about that. Open mind for possibility. Like this video, and I'll see you in the next week. Bye.